This from the book of Daniel, and I thought it was interesting because when he talks about the little horn, which represents a powerful source, it sure sounds like the media of today. Anyways, I just wanted to share that.
It be the Medes and the Persians together, the Medo-Persian dynasty, or whether it might just be the Mede dynasty that came out.
This is Daniel's one of Daniel's dreams he had about the four beasts.
Babylon, it's not clear. And I think that's by design. It's not supposed to give us precise identifications in history beyond Babylon. The images are meant to resist that kind of identification. Third then, verse 6, there is a leopard with wings and 4 heads. And now we hear significantly that dominion was given to it, which may mean that a new extent and height of power has been given to this third beast. There are 2 key words here that are significant in Daniel chapter 7 and on throughout the book of Daniel. The words dominion and the word given. We'll come back to those in just a minute. But beast 3 might refer to Greece. People have speculated. Alexander the Great's great empire and the speed with which he conquered like a leopard with wings. But each beast, as we've seen, is becoming less and less certain as to the precise identity. The point here is the pattern, not the identity. There's a pattern of escalating evil in history, escalating rebellion against God, even as these kingdoms, dynasties get stronger and stronger. And then finally in verse 7, a 4th beast, terrifying and exceedingly strong with great iron teeth. And we're told 3 times in chapter 7 that this 4th beast is different than all the others that came before it. Verse 7, verse 19, verse 23. In its strength, it's different. In the terror that it strikes, it's different. And in the extent of its power, it's different. Beast 3 was given authority, given dominion. Verse 23 says that this 4th beast shall devour the whole earth. So the power escalates, it escalates, even as the terror does. And this final beast, which is just a beast, it's not identified as a lion or a bear or a leopard or any known animal. It's just a beast. And it has 10 horns. And a horn on an animal is a symbol of power. An animal with a horn can gouge you. And an animal that would have 10 horns would be considered all the more dangerous and powerful. So the 10 horns is a symbol of great power in this 4th beast. And Daniel says in verse 8, there came up among these 10 horns another horn, a little one, with a mouth speaking great things. So this seems to be the climactic and most powerful ruler of this final dynasty. And in fact, in all of history.
The media party.
And twice, Daniel mentions the mouth 2 more times after this. Twice more, he mentions the mouth of the little horn who boasts great things, verse 11 and verse 20. Beware those to whom words come easy. Daniel also says this little horn seemed greater than its companions, verse 20, and was different from the former ones, verse 24. And in particular, this little horn with his mouth takes aim at 2 targets. He turns his arrogant tongue toward God and toward God's people. And look at verse 25. He will speak words against the Most High, term for God, and he shall wear out the saints of the Most High. So as much as this little horn seems to be all talk, at the end of the day, he's not all talk. His threatening words give way to acts of persecution that seem successful for a time. Look at verse 22. He made war with the saints, with God's people, and he prevailed over them. That is, until the Ancient of Days came.
God.
So number 1, evil powers terrorize God's people. Number 2, the Ancient of Days holds court. Now, into the confusion and the terror of these threatening beasts, escalating in their power, seemingly uncontrollable, the vision now pivots, and Daniel sees that thrones were placed in verse 9. This is a judgment scene. And the Ancient of Days took his seat, presiding over the nations and over all history, to give his final verdict and judgment over this evil and rebellion. Now, as a name for God, Ancient of Days emphasizes his eternality as well as his fitness to be the one final and decisive judge of all of history, every nation, every empire, and every individual. This is a name of God on his judgment seat. Not only has God been there from the beginning as Ancient of Days and seen it all, but he's presided over it all. He reigns supreme as God. He guides the course of history as he wills, Ephesians 1:11, and he acts decisively in his perfect timing to humble the proud and to exalt the humble. In this Ancient of Days, he far surpasses the strength and the authority and the power of the world's kingdoms that we've seen in the beasts, intimidating as they are. This is God himself, the Most High God, as he's referred to throughout Daniel and 4 times in this chapter. This is the one who sits to judge all the earth he made and the earth that he rules over. But not only is he eternal, he is clothed in white, verse 9. You know what that means? Clothed in white. That reflects his utter purity. And his hair is like pure wool to reflect the bottomless depths of the wisdom that he has amassed over endless ages. And he's surrounded by fire, which streams forth from his throne in verse 10, flashing his power to anyone who would threaten him. With the Ancient of Days on his throne in verse 10, the court set in judgment, we're told, and the books were open. And so now in this final scene, the beasts face their final reckoning for all their evil. Every deed has been seen and recorded in the books. Nothing slides past the Ancient of Days. Verse 12 says that the first 3 beasts, their time is prolonged for a season and a time. However, the 4th beast is immediately destroyed. Verse 11, also verse 26. And the arrogant mouth is immediately silenced. This is an amazing display of the power of the Most High God. As fierce and intimidating and powerful as these 4 great beasts are,
I'll just pause that. And if someone would like to watch the whole thing, it's fairly recent. Whoops. July 5th. Ooh. Very recent. Okay. That's it. Here, let's try and stop this here.